You all alone now. Last man. You are Lone Ranger.
Tonto is dead. Jay Silverheels, who played Tonto, died today at age 62.
This is the generic Indian, manufactured by Hollywood. It's an image that was designed to reinforce the idea that cowboys are the winners and we are the losers. We're stuck in feathers and buckskin. If you want to reclaim the image of the Native American, where do you start? Well, Hollywood, the scene of the crime. We're at the Paramount Ranch in the Santa Monica Mountains in Hollywood, or yeah, I guess this would still be considered Hollywood. This is the home of hundreds upon hundreds of Western movies. And I have to say, it's a pretty awesome feeling being here as a modern day Native woman.
They created the American Indian that is known as the Hollywood Indian in order to have the villain and be portrayed as the villain in those early films. From the early silents to even into the talkies, the majority of the people that played Indians were not even Indians. There was an assembly line, if you will, and they were dipped in a food coloring solution. They would put a wig on your head and a headband, which is something that Hollywood invented, was the headband, in order to keep the wigs on, because we never utilized headbands.
I was wondering where that came from.
Jay Silverheels happens to be the most famous Indian person in Hollywood prior to the Lone Ranger, and even more so after the Lone Ranger. The character of Tonto was intelligent and was able to communicate besides the Ugg that was all our language for the longest time. To see those old sets where we participated in that demeaning of our images, to me, is not a good thing. And one of them burnt down, which is a good thing, because I did a lot of films there in the old days.
I came here tonight as an official representative for Marlon Brando because he asked me to represent him. I'm the chairman of the National American Indian Affirmative Image Committee. And what Marlon Brando has in his heart is that the image of Native Americans in this country of the United States should be changed, and that the motion picture industry has dealt with the image of Indian people and helped to degrade it as much as the American government.
Hollywood, the people who write for Hollywood, the people who, you know, maybe do the casting, do the breakdowns, don't really know anything about Indian people. Indian people are mythical. They live on reservations which are somewhere, you know, you ask an average person here, you know, do you have any Indian friends? Have you ever met a real Indian? Where do they live? They won't be able to tell you. They'll talk about it like it's like a unicorn in the past. So when there's a period piece or a script written, and oh yeah, they're Indians, and then you'll see, you know, characters and stuff come up in that context. But in modern day, I think that everybody just believes that the Indians are extinct.
Until one day, there will be nowhere left. Then our race will be no more, or be not us.
Ironically, when I came to audition for some shows years ago and to try and get representation, I figured my bargaining point would be that I was Native and I didn't see a lot of Native actors, and so maybe it was an area where they were needing people, you know? And I couldn't understand why they wouldn't be interested in having, you know, somebody unique and different, you know, that I wasn't seeing. And most people just saw the pictures, they were just like, oh, you don't look Native, oh, you're not Native, oh, you'll never be cast as a Native, you know? So I went around town being this, like, girl who didn't really look Native. No one took me serious as a Native, yet they told me that even as a Native, there was really no need for them to represent me because there really aren't any roles. They have plenty of ethnic clients who can pass as Native, so they really wouldn't want to take somebody on who could take those jobs away from the clients that they already had.
I remember what happened to others who surrendered. Shipped off like cattle to a faraway place called Florida, never to return.
But at least you would be alive, Massa.
You call that life? If an Apache cannot live in his home mountains like his fathers before him, he is already dead.
Now, this is on the 2004 Grammys, but what does that do to you?
This is the prime example of the fact that these people in 2004 in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles are not aware that this could offend people. By doing this is like saying, oh, Indians? What Indians? Who's gonna come after us? You know, no one would do this, you know, with like an African American theme. No one would do this because there would be hell to pay if you depicted their culture or, you know, Latin American culture, whatever, in a stereotypical, you know, disgusting, offensive way. But Indian people don't have a presence. Nobody knows we exist, you know? They can't even name any, you know, famous Indians. So if no one's around to catch you doing something, why wouldn't you do it?
Outkast's performance at the Grammys proves that nothing has changed since Tonto. Is it always going to be this way? Oh, come on, Jen. Things can't be that bad. There are great strides being made in Hollywood that give Native stars a chance to shine. Tonto meets Squanto.
What have you done? I killed them because I am a warrior. You have forgotten who you are. I am not forgotten. Let's do it.
We're waiting here. Bye.
Welcome to fucking Hollywood, California, baby.
So I tell everybody, they're always saying, you know, do you feel like you're typecast? And it's like, no, I'm Indian and I'm proud to be Indian.
Don't you even know how to be a real Indian? Indians ain't supposed to smile like that. Get stoic.
When I did the show Joe Dirt, they phoned me up, and in the script it says, the guy from Smoke Signals. And I was like, yeah, I got this role. I don't even have to audition. So I phoned in saying, I like it. I want to do it. So I show up on set, and I meet the director. She looks at me, and she's like, this is the other guy.
No!
They wanted Evan Adams. So if you watch the film, they dressed me up like Evan's character.
That stuff doesn't work anymore, which is why I had to open this fireworks stand. I wasn't getting by on my tracking wages.
There's not a lot of us Native actors out there to fill this void. And it's just a few of us who are actually, you know, opening these doors, but it's not enough. A lot of people don't realize who we really are. You know, there's one mold that's been planted, and now it's coming to a time where we're starting to gain a little bit of control of that image, and it's about time. And now we have to, with respect and with responsibility, change that.
You know, we get an audition on Turkey Day. Every Turkey Day we get, the consciousness comes in, and their guilty consciences make them write some little thing about an Indian, right? So even sitcoms will have, an Indian guest on there. Charlie Hill, somebody, a little joke, a spoof or something on a sitcom. Or West Wing, they had that. But it's, it's the conscience coming in, and that's once a year. We all meet at a casting. It's like, hey, it's Thanksgiving again. So we have that going for us. So we know that there's going to be an audition once a year at least.
How? I am Pocahontas, a Chippewa maiden.
An Indian.
I would have to say the film that made the biggest impact would be Smoke Signals. And why? Because it was a successful film as far as the industry goes. It was a low-budget independent film, got distributed. It's in blockbusters. That's a success story. And why it was different is there was a Native writer, director, and Native cast. It was contemporary. We were alive and existing today, which was great. So that started a new phase now. Young filmmakers are coming up and they want to be Chris Eyre, or they want to be Sherman Alexie, or they want to be Native actors because they can see that they exist today. I think the next step is for Native directors, producers, and writers to collectively get together and write stories where we can portray people as normal human beings. Cody, my son Cody, could go out and he could play a skateboarder just hanging out at high school, and he doesn't have to wear his race on his shirt. They, in Smoke Signals, they were still natives. They were living on the res. Well, now we want them to exist in an office, on TV series like Friends, on a feature film where they're the love interest, the gorgeous girl. I mean, we have some beautiful women in our industry. The leading man. Why can't the leading man be a gorgeous Indian man? In anything.
It's 2004. We are modern, everyday people. We're still 500 nations strong with distinct languages and traditions.
You guys are heroes, It's like you're the Lone Ranger in Tonto.
It's more like we're Tonto and Tonto.
In the words of the